It's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. I answer a lot of viewer letters on this channel, and when I get a viewer letter like on YouTube or Facebook, or get a random email from somebody, I'll copy the verbiage down and put it on a Word document and print it out, and then I'll read it almost verbatim on the video. And I got a letter, and I can't remember how long ago it was, and I can't remember who it came from, and I did that. I remember printing it out, but I can't find it. But basically the question was, they're shopping for tractors, new tractor buyer, and they're trying to decide what horsepower to get. And every dealer they visit, they get a little different story about what size. So today I'm going to give you some guidance on tractor horsepower size and some things that you need to know if you're shopping for your first tractor. And it's a tough time right now to be shopping for a first tractor. And part of the reason, you're getting varying input from dealers. Normally what a dealer would do would be to listen to everything you say and say, yeah, that sounds like you need about a 30 horse tractor or a 50 horse tractor, and we've got this one out here and we can deliver it next week. But he can't say that now. We're short of inventory. And so dealers in the back of their mind are trying to think, I'm trying to get this customer what size they want, but I've also got to factor in what I have on order, what's going to come in, what I know I can get to them. So we're in kind of weird times right now when we have a supply shortage, and that's really making it difficult. Well, if you've never been around tractors before, you'd be like if I was trying to buy a helicopter and the helicopter salesman was saying, what size do you want? I don't know. I don't have a clue. Never been around them before. So we're going to go over some basics on horsepower size. What normally dictates the horsepower size you get on a tractor are a couple of things. One is how much time you have and how much land you have and what work you're going to be doing there. And so most tractors that are purchased, and I used to know this number, but I've forgotten it, percentage-wise, it's in the probably high 80s or mid 80s, somewhere like that, of tractors that get purchased with a rotary cutter, a brush hog, bush hog, whatever you want to call them. A slasher in Australia and topper in the UK, but a rough cut rotary cutter. And so a rule of thumb to remember is on a tractor, horsepower is important, but also the basic size of the tractor. So if you've got a really small tractor that's not much bigger than a lawnmower, you may have horsepower there, but you may not have enough tractor to physically lift the cutter up in the air and run it up and down hills safely. But the rule of thumb, however wide the front loader bucket is on that tractor, is about the width you want to put cutter on the back. And that's good up to about 40 horse, anything underneath that. So you're buying a 25 horse tractor. It's got a 4-foot bucket on the front of it, loader bucket. You want a 4-foot cutter on the back. Now, is there a time when you could put a 5-foot cutter on a 25 horse tractor? Well, possibly. What dictates that is your terrain and geometry. If you've got a 25 horse tractor, they're usually fairly short from front to back. And especially if it doesn't have a front end loader on it, you can put a 4-foot cutter on it. It sticks out 4 foot. You can lift it up fine, everything's good. You put a 5-foot cutter on, you extend that cutter out another foot, and geometry takes over, and you try to pick it up, especially if you don't have a front end loader, and you can lift the front wheels off the ground and your steering get goofy without front weights. So if you've got a 4-foot bucket, get a 4-foot cutter. If you're on totally flat ground and you never go up and down hills, maybe you can go with a 5-foot cutter. 5-foot cutter on a tractor with a 5-foot bucket, and a 6-foot cutter on a tractor with a 6-foot bucket. Now, when you get up to 45 horsepower to 50 horsepower, you might be able to go with a 7-foot cutter. And then after that, horsepower dictates how big you can have, because you're going to have a tractor with a big frame size and the ability to pick up whatever you need. Now, here's another rule of thumb I'm going to give you with a brush cutter. In my mind, if I'm wanting to brush hog up to 5 acres, I could live with a subcompact tractor with a 4-foot brush cutter on the back. If I've got 5 to 10 acres, I could probably live with a 5-foot cutter. And if I've got more than 10 acres, up to 20, 30 acres, a 6-foot cutter. Any more than that, if I brush hog it on a regular basis, I want a bigger cutter. Thus, I need a bigger tractor to go in front of it. So a lot of it is how much time you have to get your job done. And if you're a person that works in town all week, comes out of the farm on the weekend and tries to get all the work done, the bigger tractor you get with the more brush hog behind it to get your fields slicked off, the happier you're going to be. And again, I've said this a million times, but get the biggest tractor you can afford and be ready for the fact that you'll always want the next bigger tractor, regardless of how big you get. Now, the second thing I want to talk about today, besides rotary cutters, is lift capacity. And like 98 or 9% of all tractors sold under 50 horsepower get a front end loader on them from the factory. Just almost everybody wants a front end loader. And how much that loader will lift dictates how big a tractor you get too. So in our example of my question, 25, 35, or 45 horse tractor, let's say you had some pallets around that you wanted to lift that weighed 1,800 pounds, or you're trying to feed round bales to livestock, and that's usually it takes a lot of lift capacity. So let's say your bales are going to weigh 1,200, 1,400 pounds. 25 horsepower is probably not going to pick that up. That's too much weight. 35 might, 45 probably will. So we've got to figure out how much lift capacity we need for the hardest job, the job that uses the most weight, and size our tractor to that, and don't go too small. Now, let's say you're looking at tractors from 35 to 45 horse, and let's say whichever manufacturer you're looking at, they make a 35 horse, a 40 horse, and a 45 horse. They're pretty different prices, but they all have the same lift capacity. And the 35 will do everything you want to, like feeding round bales. Why would I buy the 45? And the 35 will do a 6-foot cutter, which is what I want. Why would I buy a 45? Well, what happens a lot of times with tractors and tractor manufacturers, they'll have a smaller frame tractor, like a 30 to 33 or 4 horse tractor with a 3-cylinder engine in it. And for marketing purposes, they'll take that engine and put it in the next bigger frame size. And maybe have a 35 horse tractor that's physically a bigger tractor than the 30 horse. And they will sell that. Maybe their 40 horse tractor has a 4-cylinder engine, and the 45 horse tractor might have a 4-cylinder engine with a turbo, or it might have a bigger 4-cylinder engine that is common in the next frame size up. And so they'll put these different engines in, and sometimes they won't. Sometimes they've got 2 or 3 of the models that have the same engine. It's just a twist of the injector screw to get more horsepower for marketing purposes. So you've got to look at all these factors, but all 3 tractors may have the same lift capacity. And the reason for that is lift capacity is determined by a couple of things. Number one, the frame size of the tractor, how big the tractor is and how it can offset that weight coming up in the air. And the second thing is the hydraulic components, the hydraulic pump, the cylinders on the bucket, and so on. And if you have a 35, a 40, and a 45 horse tractor that all have the same hydraulic system, all on the same frame, they're likely all going to pick up the same amount of weight regardless of what engine is in them. So all of this comes together to complicate matters. But the bottom line to it all, person whose letter I've lost and can't remember your name, is what tasks do you have to do, and how can I get the tractor that most matches those tasks? If I've got 20 acres to brush hog, I want to brush it 3 times a year, maybe a 40 horse tractor with a 6-foot cutter is not enough. Maybe I need to move up a size and get a 7 or 8-foot cutter. If I want to feed round bales and I'm on a budget, maybe the smallest 35 horse tractor with a 3-cylinder diesel engine will lift every round bale I want to feed. Now, I can't stack them with it, but I can lift them up and take them out and feed them. So the question for you, before you go into a dealership, is what do you want to do with the tractor? And when you've got an idea of what the hardest thing on that tractor is going to be, whether it's going to be pulling a big cutter or lifting a heavy weight, and you can tell the dealer salesperson that, hopefully they'll guide you to the right tractor and get you where you need to be. Now, in my next video, I'm going to talk about tractor options. There's some tractor options that are kind of hype, some tractor options I wouldn't be without, and I'm going to tell you what they are in our next video. I appreciate you watching my videos. I'd be honored if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that's real easy. All you got to do, click the mic face icon and check the bell so you're notified when I post future videos. No salesman will call. Here's a link to my website and the Tractor Fun Store with unique items for sale for the tractor owner that helps support my channel. And here's another video you might want to watch. Thanks for watching.